before we open it. Right now. Okay. All right, before I hit the gavel, we're going to go into executive session. It won't be long, I promise.
Here, except for on this one. You came when I wasn't here. Yep.
That took a little longer than I expected. Thanks for your patience. Good morning and welcome to the City of Chester City Council meeting for today, September 11th, 2024. As always, we open with a prayer and a pledge. Today's prayer will be given by First Lady Tara Thomas from the Christian Church of Chester. Ms. Tara, the microphone is yours. Let's rise.
Good morning. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we give you glory, honor, and praise, and we lift you up in this place, oh God. God, I ask that your will be done in this place in the name of Jesus, God. That every bill, every ordinance, every resolution, oh God, be led by you, oh God. God, in the name of Jesus, I ask that our flesh would fall to the ground, that you would stand up in us, oh God. That we would not pass these bills and look at them and review them with our emotions, oh God, but with the facts at hand, oh God, in the mighty name of Jesus. If there's any spirit that's here illegally, I speak to it in the name of Jesus, and it must flee. God, we thank you on today. We thank you for the mighty work you're going to do. We thank you for the cohesiveness that's going to take place in this room, oh God. And we pray for the city of Chester in the name of Jesus that's up and coming, oh God. We thank you for the increase in the city, God, in the mighty name of Jesus. It's in Jesus' name that I do pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we do a roll call, I just want to acknowledge that it is 9/11, and this is a day of remembrance in this country for what occurred back in 2001. We all remember where we are when we got the news, and I've told my story to anybody who would listen. I was in New York City. I lived there at the time, and I would have been in the World Trade Center at 12 noon that day. So I feel especially blessed to be here today. We had a ceremony at the firehouse this morning. Would you just give a brief synopsis of what we do on 9/11 with the fire department?
More than happy to, Mayor. Every year, the fire department gathers with mayor, council, all first responders to just remember the 2,977 civilians, 72 police officers, and 343 firefighters that were lost that day. Since that day, countless more have died from cancer contracted while rescue and recovery operations took place on the Ground Zero. I did read today, and I'd be happy to share it with you, but yesterday when I was trying to decide what I wanted to say at this morning's ceremony, I opened up my social media, and the first thing that came up is what I said today, and I think it most appropriate. And I'll share that with you now. Good days and bad days, up days, down days, sad days, happy days, but never a boring day on this job, fire department. You do what God has called you to do. You show up, you put one foot in front of the other, you get on the rig and you go out and you do the job, which is a mystery and a surprise. You have no idea when you get on that rig, no matter how big the call, no matter how small. You have no idea what God is calling you to. But he needs you, he needs me, he needs all of us. Those are the words of Father Michael Judge, who was the chaplain for the FDNY on September 10th of 2001, the day before the terrorist attacks. He is officially listed as the first victim in the terrorist attacks. He was the first one to die September 11th.
Thank you.
So I just ask that we all take a moment in silence and just remember all those who were lost that day and never since that day.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, on a more up note, September 11th is the birthday of my oldest daughter, who turns 40 today, yay her. And many of us go to the car wash out in Brookhaven. that guy who greets you, writes up your ticket, tells, Cornell is his name. It's his birthday too. So if you're out in Brookhaven, go holler at him. He is the nicest, most thorough guy you'll ever meet. And he always works. The guy never takes a day off. All right, let's do the roll call.
Councilors Gibson,
Present.
Green,
Present.
West,
Present.
Davis, Mayor Roots.
Present. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes from August 28th?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
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 And that motion carries. Agenda items only. Is there anyone out there who has any public comment on agenda items only? No one's moving, so we're going to keep this moving. I was looking for my controller. I don't see her. I see my interim chief of staff. Anything to report this morning?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
All right, great. Council, any new business, old business we want to bring up? What was it that I wanted to mention?
We were talking about the visit to the Clean Energy Center and
Okay.
the beginning of school.
Oh, yes, school started this week. Well, it started last week for some, started this week. Many of us spread out across the city to ring the bell to welcome the children to school. That's always exciting. And I just wanted to make mention, we went out, myself and Justin went out to Harrisburg to visit the Clean Energy Center. It's a place where weatherization is, how to do weatherization is taught. So we know weatherization is a big thing here in the area that's facilitated by the Community Action Agency of Delaware County. So just want to get a good idea how people are trained, and it's looking to be incorporated within our workforce development in the future as we talk about VOTEC training, all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, workforce weatherization is also one of those components we'd like to add. Madam Clerk.
Bill number 6, first reading was on August 28th, 2024. Ordinance number 5 of 2024, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending Section 507.06, entitled One-Way Streets of Article 507, entitled Vehicle Operation of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, 1978, as supplemented and amended by adding new subsection B to adopt a new traffic circulation plan to be implemented on West Union Street between Jeffrey to Yarnell Streets, which shall be one-way northeast, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass Bill number 6 on its last and final reading.
I second that we pass bill number 6 on its last and final reading.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis. Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Bill number 7, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending ordinance number 16 of 2023, entitled 2024 Budget, providing for compensation adjustments, corrections, modifications, and changes in organizational alignments for use during the 2024 calendar year, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I make a motion. Hello? I make a motion that we change ordinance to reflect specific retroactive dates for specific employees in regards to the new budget.
Any further questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
No.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Bill number 8, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, repealing Article 133 entitled Civil Service in its entirety and enacting new Article 133 entitled Police and Fire Civil Service Commission of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, Pennsylvania, 1978, as supplemented and amended to provide for and oversee the examination of applicants for an appointment to any position that requires testing in the police and fire departments, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass Bill number 8 on its first reading.
I second that we pass bill number 8 on its first reading.
Any further questions, or any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the following individuals have requested a handicap parking zone. Number 1, Janet Hill, 14 East 22nd Street, Chester, PA, 19013. And number 2, Nayla Edmonds, 1038 McDowell Avenue, Chester, PA, 19013. Whereas, after a thorough investigation by the Department of Public Works, it has been determined the aforementioned individuals have met all of the required criteria and have a need for said handicap parking zone. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city officials to install a handicap parking zone in the unit block of East 22nd Street and in the 1000 block of McDowell Avenue in the City of Chester.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby approve the local operating procedures agreement between the City of Chester Police Department and the Pennsylvania State Police in order to provide coordinated and efficient police services to Harrah's Philadelphia Casino and Racetrack, located at 777 Harrah's Boulevard within the City of Chester, by outlining a mutually beneficial arrangement that enables both parties to efficiently and cooperatively provide services within the areas of the casino. Further, it does authorize the proper city official to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the City of Chester Police Department. Even further, said agreement is contingent upon final approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I'll just make a quick comment. I don't want anybody to be alarmed. I don't want anybody to think that something has happened over Harrah's, that the police and state police have to do something special or different. State police that's sort of their jurisdiction, but it's in our city, and there's never been a working agreement between the city's police department and the state police. So this just sort of creates a, if you will, memorandum of understanding, or who's in charge of what in terms of handling the issues that police have to handle over there. So don't be alarmed. Nothing crazy is going on at Harrah's. Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby grant permission and authorize the issuance of a road opening permit to Delcora in accordance with the documents on file in the city engineer's office at the location listed below. Number 1, Townsend Street from the north end near Amtrak to a point approximately 100 feet north of Seaport Drive. Further, said permit is contingent upon all work being performed in a manner that is satisfactory to City Council and Delcora's compliance with all of the following conditions as outlined by the city engineer. Number 1, Delcora performs a full-width mill and overlay of Townsend Street within the city's right-of-ways for the full length of the proposed stormwater management piping. Number 2, Delcora provides appropriate traffic control measures subject to approval by the fire commissioner and city engineer. Number 3, Delcora obtains all required road opening permits from the city as well as a highway occupancy permit from PennDOT. Number 4, Delcora obtains any and all required permits for this project, including sidewalk and curb permit. Number 5, Delcora obtains any required easements for the construction of the new stormwater management pipe. And number 6, reconstruction of ADA-compliant curb ramps at the following intersections: A, West 4th Street and Townsend Street, and B, West 3rd Street and Townsend Street.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I do. Hey, Andrew, can you come up for a moment? One of the things that the council has always been concerned about with road openings is knowing when they're going to occur so that people in the neighborhoods know when to expect their roads to be opened. There's no indication here when this is going to happen. Is there some reason why it's not included, or?
I'm not sure about the timeline yet. I'm not even sure that the specific timing has been chosen. I think this is just for council's authorization. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. All right. Doesn't sound loud to me. I think this is just for council's authorization. I will say council approved a similar resolution for, I believe, the same project in April of 2022. Sometimes there are delays that are on their end that may pertain to funding or other matters, and so sometimes these projects don't move forward in a timely fashion. So when this application was received and it was reviewed by the engineer, thought it was best to send it back to council since it's been more than 2 years. I will reach out to Delcora today and find out if we can get an expected timeline for when this project should start and times that the road should expect to be closed. As soon as I get that, I'll send that to council members so that it can be made public.
Thanks. One further question.
Sure.
It says Townsend Street from the north end near Amtrak. What's that mean?
I assume by the train tracks?
I would assume so too, but
Yes.
it just seems to be a weird designation near Amtrak.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I assume they mean the Amtrak easement or their property, how that works. I'm not.
All right,
I'm not
thanks.
sure.
So we'll be looking for the dates.
Yes, absolutely.
Madam?
So do we move forward without having that clarification, or do we wait?
No, we move forward. It's just to allow the permits, then we'll get the dates. Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Roots?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that in accordance with recommendations of the Chester City Planning Commission dated August 14, 2024, and reviewed by the Delaware County Planning Commission on October 11, 2023, it does hereby grant final land development approval to the plan for Jack Sargent to construct a 7,750 square feet gymnasium addition to the existing community center located at 701 Booth Street, Chester, PA 19013, as shown on a plan prepared by Pannoni Associates Incorporated, 1501 Main Street, Suite 220, Warrington, PA 18976, dated September 28, 2023, last revised November 17, 2023. Further, said approval is conditioned upon addressing the remaining comments of the Colliers Engineering and Design Review letter dated August 9, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Yes,
Go ahead. Ladies first.
I'm not going to approve this. I'm going to vote no on it, and the reason being is because the Gallo brothers owes,
That's not the
oh, I'm sorry,
That's not the-
it's not the one.
The Access Center.
I
It's the
apologize.
Gymnasium.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'll take that back.
So this is an opportunity to share with all of you here that we're talking about the Access Center on 7th and Booth. It was built maybe a little less than 2 years ago in an effort to bring a recreation-type center to the west side of town. The people who brought it to us really brought it to us as a gift. You know, they bought the land. They didn't hammer us for money. They used their own money. They did their own fundraising. They built it. It's a beautiful facility. They offer it up to anybody in the community for free to use. We've had a bunch of meetings. They have food pantries. They do hot meals for lunch. It's facilitated by the nuns, Sister Maggie, Sister Kathy, thank you. So the building went up first, a playground came next, play set, and then their phase 3 is this gymnasium. It attaches directly to the building, and it will have one basketball court that could be used for whatever you use basketball courts for. But it's a great addition by a group of people who had a heart for Chester and were very philanthropic in their efforts. So just want to thank them publicly for what they've done for the west side of town. Any other questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Mayor and council, for resolution number 94, I am moving that we table this resolution.
I second that we table this resolution.
Any questions, comments?
So, okay, now I'm speaking on the right item, and I do not agree with the Gallo brothers coming into the city of Chester doing any business when they don't pay their current taxes and they don't keep their properties well-maintained at all, and it brings blight to our community. And so I agree with tabling this into a further date.
Any other comments, questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson,
No.
you voting at the table.
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas in December 2022, the city of Chester was awarded Delco Greenways Round 3 Connect, which is known as a trail, projects in the amount of $500,000 for improvements related to the Chester Creek Trail - Parker Manor Connector Project. And whereas as a stipulation of the award, the city agreed to transfer the grant management responsibilities to the Chester Economic Development Authority, known as CEDA. And whereas the project consists of plans to construct a multi-use recreational trail as part of the Regional Circuit Trail Network, which includes both on-road and off-road sections of trail. The on-road section of trail will include the crossing at Curling Street and extending sidewalk and bike lanes to Chester Creek. The off-road section will include regrading of an existing flood berm, construction of an asphalt trail on top of the berm, stabilizing the stream bank, providing sitting and viewing areas along the creek, and enhancing the stormwater infrastructure, including the construction of 2 large bioretention basins that will treat and convey stormwater into newly constructed stormwater outfalls. Improvements will include the installation of concrete curb, sidewalk, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, known as RRFBs, at Curling Street for pedestrian safety, ADA curb ramps, and other park amenities. Now therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize entering into the Delaware County Greenways Municipal Grant Program Agreement between the City of Chester, the County of Delaware, the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Chester, and the Chester Economic Development Authority for the Chester Creek Trail - Parker Manor Connector Project for the purpose of the following. 1, CETA shall be responsible for all grant management responsibilities of the city, which shall include A, applying for disbursements of grants funds hereunder, B, receiving, holding, and applying grant funds in accordance with this agreement, C, contracting for and constructing the project as described herein, and D, keeping all records required hereby. Number 2, this transfer shall not relieve the city of its obligations hereunder to indemnify the county, to record the declaration of public trust, covenants, conditions, and restriction to restrict the use of the project as set forth herein, to construct and maintain the project, to fund costs of the project which exceed the grant, to properly apply the grant funds, and to reimburse county for overpayments.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I'll make a comment. I was just coming on council in 2022 when the county approved this $500,000 for trails in the city of Chester, and I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, $500,000 can be used in so many other places in the city besides a trail. I learned a lot since then. Trails are important and vital, and in the city of Chester, just by our geography, we are in the path of a couple other, one important trail that goes from Maine to Florida, comes right through Chester. This particular trail is not the same, but what it does is it will connect our parks and our neighborhoods in a way that we can travel between them a lot safely. And traveling, what I mean is walking and biking. The other thing I've learned is that communities that have trails, the property value increases substantially when you do have these trail systems. So I've been transformed into a trail lover after being a trail hater, I will admit. But this trail makes a lot of sense. Parker Manor, for those of you who don't know, this portion will connect what occurred at Air Park, or Erie Park, depending on how you pronounce it. The trail there will go kind of behind Chester High School, under the highway, into Parker Manor, across Curlin Street to Crozier Park, down where the pool used to be, and down to the riverfront. So for tourism, for local access, for guys who like to ride a bicycle like me and are sometimes afraid to ride on 9th Street or, these other areas, that's where these trails really come in handy. I think the full trail circuit around the city is about 7 miles when it will all be put together. So that's a pretty significant little run for those of you who want to walk or run or bike. Any other comments, questions, Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. And it's time for reports. Budget and Finance Committee Chair Davis.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, There are no future meetings scheduled at this time. This does not
Chair
work.
Gibson, Community and Economic Development.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, and there are no future meetings scheduled at this time.
That's me. Human Resources Administration appointment, the same. Haven't met since the last council meeting. No future meetings are scheduled. Councilman Green, Parks and Rec.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, and there are no future meetings scheduled at this time.
Public Safety, that's myself. Nothing scheduled, but we do have more work to do on the, what was passed today, the civil service. So I know that's coming up soon. And Public Works.
The Public Works Committee met on September 9th to hear a presentation from Andrew Heyman, Director of the Public Works Department, regarding ordinances and to discuss staffing adjustments. There are no future meetings scheduled at this time.
And finally, intergovernmental relations is myself. We haven't met and nothing's scheduled. So I already asked about the controller, chief of staff. You have any? No, still nothing?
Nope, still
Nothing
nothing.
came up between the time I asked you before and now?
No,
All right,
sir.
great. Well, it's not on here. However, it should be. It's public comment time. That wasn't taken off the agenda on purpose, was it? I hope not.
I think it hasn't been on there for the last couple of them. I gotta check that.
Thank you. All right, let's start with, hey, Adrian. How are you? Adrian Friend. You have to come to the mic, please. I'm sorry. You have to come to the mic so the people who are viewing online can hear you.
Good morning. I just want to say that I live on Taylor Terrace, and upon my review of the ordinances on the City of Chester's website as they pertain to ordinances in the City of Chester, all of the actions seem to begin with delays. And what I have found is that even with the complaints that have been filed by myself, and I don't know about any others on Taylor Terrace, they have not been, I can't say they haven't been addressed, but they haven't been enforced. And it's troubling that they're not being enforced, as they do impact my life directly and my property directly.
Thanks for your comment. Commissioner Gretzky, come on up, because we have talked about Taylor Terrace in our briefings. What exactly are we doing with regard to loitering?
So for Taylor Terrace, and which I will agree with you, we pinpoint through crime data and mapping certain hotspots, which we would say Taylor Terrace is considered a hotspot. I don't like to lay out my game plan because a lot of this comes down to surveillance, and then also with the security system that I'm working with the district attorney's office, where there's a system called Fuchsias where I could log in and watch certain areas as a real-time crime center. This is in partnership with the district attorney's office, but again, I can talk to you afterwards, I can give you my number if you want to meet.
What I'm speaking to is not anything having to do with crime in that area, as that I believe.
I thought that's what the mayor was talking about.
No.
Well, she didn't give any details, but I just wanted to bring up what we are doing with regard to some of the calls that we've received with loitering. But if there's something specific, come back to the mic, please, if there's something you want us to look at. I need you at the mic only because that's the only way people are going to hear you. Come on up. You can push them out the way.
You're welcome.
First, I'd like to address the comment that he made as it pertains to a crime, which I think it is a misconception about crime on Taylor Terrace. In addition to that, what I'm speaking to pertains to properties that are being used in ways that they are not supposed to be, according to the ordinances, that we have 3 boats parked on a lot, and there are other things, and it's like there's been it's not being enforced. And this is something that has been going on for a while, and I have made more than one complaint about it. So
Okay.
I'm speaking to properties and things that people that are coming into the neighborhood are doing as they're buying property, sneaking in, doing things that they shouldn't be. And they're not being called out on any of them.
Okay. So we just need to get the addresses of those properties. Thanks. Joni Asbury. Pull that mic down to your mouth, please.
Is that better?
Get closer to the mic.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm here because I live at 53 East 24th Street. I have 5 recovery or resource, not Resources Rehabilitation, Recovery and Rehabilitation Centers, 5 in the back of my property, 1 on East 23rd and Crosby, 1 on 24th and Crosby. I live 3 doors from 24th and Crosby, and now right next door to me. I have given that information to Kim Gardner, and I really feel as though she is working in that area to find out how they can come about, because in the beginning, maybe 5 years ago when I brought this up, they said that they were not recovery centers. They were all family members living there. But we know that wasn't true. So now it has increased to at least 7 in that area. I bought my house 30 years ago in a residential neighborhood. We have ups and downs in our neighborhood, but nothing like this. My property value, I just put over $100,000 in my property because I might want to downsize. My property value has gone down because right now, right next door to me is a rehabilitation center, recovery center. But as I said, I gave that to Kim Gardner, and she is working on it, and I appreciate her efforts. But now what I'd like to bring to council is, who are the people living in these recovery centers? No one knows about it. It was a gentleman that worked in our neighborhood. He made a comment that, oh my goodness, you have everything living here. I just got out of prison with this guy. He's a pedophile. That made me pause for a minute, because who is minding who is living in these facilities? The house next door to me, people lived in it the day they bought it. They are still there. They wander in and out through the night. We had to put a security system up so we could maintain our security and our safety. I would like to know who I talked to about this. I tried to call different people in city council. I haven't gotten return calls, but what is the next thing that I need to do, or what can the city of Chester help to do? Because we have children that get off a bus stop right off the corner where supposedly, I don't want to say this because I don't know it for fact, but supposedly that is the house where the most pedophiles and arsonists live. So who's minding it?
Okay, thank you for your comment and / question. You're doing the right thing. Like, you sent it to Kim Pinder.
Is that under her jurisdiction of the people that are in the house? I know she's into the zoning.
All right, so when these people come to town, they're buying homes as if they're residents. Then the
Yes.
next thing you know, they flip them into these recovery centers.
Yes.
It's neighbors like you that have to bring that to our attention. Usually it will, the work to smoke them out starts with zoning. They go
Okay.
by, they make sure that it is exactly what you said it is, something that isn't a residential property, it isn't a family living there. With that being the case, then the enforcement, comes down. If it's determined the neighborhood that they're in is not residential, if they're not registered as a business with the city, there's a lot of things that has to happen if you're going to run a business in the city. But unless people like yourself, and you've done everything right, but you haven't got all the answers that you've asked, so I understand that as well. But we need everybody sitting here and listening. If these businesses are showing up in your neighborhood, let us know. It is our job to determine whether they belong, whether they're registered, whether they're properly placed in the city. We're getting a lot better at that. So,
Well, I feel very comfortable with Kim Gardner. I think she is trying to work on that. But to have people that you don't know, I thought, maybe I'm wrong, I thought that if you have a sex offender living in your neighborhood, they had to be identified. That's not happening. We have no idea who these people are or
Okay.
what they have done.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Who do we talk to about that? Or that's in your hands as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Who's next? Is that Cordy Bolden? Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I live at 809 Westford Street, across the street from Jake's Tree Service. Thought I was living in a residential section, but apparently I'm not. We have a lot of debris coming from Jake's Trees. We have noise. I actually called them. I said, could you please stop? You're using a chipper, okay, from 6 in the morning to 6 the next morning. I called the police department and got an incident report from them at 3 in the morning. Who can sleep with all that noise? Also, the chipper, because they're using mulch. I mean, the debris and everything that comes out, it's all over. It's like you have to clean your front porch every day. And you're breathing that in. I did call the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm waiting for the agent to come out to see me. She has to wait because she can't come by herself. It has to be her and 2 other agents to investigate and get in contact with him. But it's bad. It's really bad. I don't know what the city can do about it. Of course, I feel as though I should let you know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
What you're explaining, we already know.
Good.
Once the city approves operations like that to operate, it's hard to pull that back.
Yeah, I know.
The only thing we can do now is try to adjust, how they're operating their business. So for them to be chipping, mulching, whatever you call it, that early in the morning and after dark, we should be able to do something about that, and that's being addressed. The dust that it creates is not fair to people who live directly across the street. And I know you also have the burden of the cement mixers behind your houses.
Yep.
Between them not covering their lime and stuff like that, and on dry days, the winds you probably have to wash your cars every day.
Just about.
We had DEP in town, and that's one of the places that we took them and showed them. So DEP this won't be the first time they would have seen this property. I can only say that we're well aware of it. It's a poorly placed business right across from residents. I don't know if it was approved originally with the full knowledge of the extent of activity that would be going on over there, particularly with regard to the noise and the dust that it creates. But now that they're there, I'm just telling you, it's really hard to pull the plug and get them out of there. What we can do or attempt to do as mayor and council is to get them to adjust their operation so that maybe the chipper can go on the railroad side instead of right on the street. Maybe we can enclose it. Maybe
all he needs to do is put a building up, and they can do their own ventilation system.
I understand. So, yeah.
That's what's needed.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We are already on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
S.J. Dennis. Miss Dennis.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have quite a few things. First of all,
You got 3 minutes, so
I
squeeze
know,
it in.
I know, I'm
Okay.
squeezing it in. All right, somebody is dumping at 15th and S Street. That is between the Blind Center and Naz's. There's furniture, all kinds of stuff there. So with the Blind Center there, it's really going to, I would think it would be a tripping hazard or something for them. My other is Deshawn. Deshawn has trees growing out of the roof there. I would
growing
love
where?
for somebody, out of the roof of the building.
Oh, okay.
I would love for somebody to have someone come in and take over renovating or restoring it back to the way that it was. I mean, because it's an eyesore when you come into the city. I'm so glad that the county is cutting the grass, but the wall is falling down, it's crumbling, and somebody has taken some of the wrought iron and I guess they've taken it to the salvage yard and gotten themselves some money, because now it's so easy to get it off of there because of the crumbling wall. The other thing is we have the other area that is between the dollar store and Deshawn that the county owns, and it was supposed to be for some restoration, and it has a big black fence around it. They cut the grass on the inside, but all of the foliage is still around the outside of it, so if you want to maintain it, I would think that you would maintain all of it. Also, it has a sign there, it talks about Corbett. Corbett hasn't been the governor in Pennsylvania for a long time. So that looks kind of foolish when people come from out of town and they see that and they're trying to figure, well, why do they have a sign up there talking about Corbett? And my other is the weigh station. When are we going to get the weigh station up and running? We're talking about monetizing different authorities in the city of Chester. We need to do something about the weigh station. That would bring us in so much money. A lot of places I've researched, and they start at $100 to $125 per pound over the legal weight limit. So that's quick money that we can make. I don't know if there's somebody could be there part-time or get some body in, some company or something, but somebody to do that, because that's some money, that's some real money that we are losing out on. And that is my report. Thank you.
You did good. Way to go. With 16 seconds to spare. We will check out that dumping on 15th Street, Deshawn. For those of you who know, that's our property, but the county is the custodian and has been for over 30 years. We can't say that they've been the best custodian over the last 30 years. We can say that with some effort, they're starting to cut the grass on a regular basis. There is going to be a request for, I don't know what the last letter is, information, request for proposal, request for a quote to go out to the public for improvements on that property. The last time they put out an I'll just call it an RFP, nobody came to pick it up. So even developers who would be eligible to work on it aren't even interested. What they're going to do this time is include not just the Deshawn property, but the parcels that you mentioned that are around there. Some of them are county-owned, some of them are city-owned. So also the school district has some property, of course, across the creek in Air Park and as far as Columbus School that may be lumped into the property that developers will be eligible to come up with a plan for. So we all know that it's not as much an eyesore as it used to be, but it certainly is a missing link in what is the gateway to downtown. That property has to be developed. It's required that, what's the term we use, ratables, that stuff goes on there that creates taxes to the city. So we're looking forward to this RFP coming out really soon from the county, and we're going to certainly put it in the hands of some developers that have probably looked at the property in the past and some that have come forward to say they want to work on it. The weigh station, I can say one thing about the weigh station, it has been repaired. So for a while the scale wasn't even working. I asked my commissioner to come back up one more time. I know one of the issues, and you kind of made the point, like you need somebody in there. It's not going to work if no one's in there and we're not directing trucks, particularly that go up and down 291, to pull over and get weighed. We might even be looking at trash trucks getting weighed in the near future. So I just want you to know the weigh station has been in a lot of conversations. What's up with the weigh station?
So 2019 was the last usage of it. A lot of this has to do with our manpower, with retirees, officers separating to other police departments, which I do have good news. I will be conducting oral interviews on October, I believe it's 1st or 2nd of this month, and we have 9 possible applicants that are going to hopefully get hired here in the city of Chester. If it works out for 9 applicants, that's a full platoon just about. I do have a plan in place. I do want to see some expansion, but I do need manpower. I know we want to talk about money, but the backbone of the police department is the citizens and the resident safety and patrol. Patrol carries the weight. So I need the certain sectors, the certain beats covered with patrol officers. We went to 12-hour shifts. We've done a few things to move pieces in place, but we are working to getting that done. But to what the mayor was saying, that I did have it calibrated in 2022, late 22, and we were supposed to do a plan with the state police, talk about having them come in, but then it come down to when you write a citation, you have to go, that doesn't mean you're guilty, but you do have to go in front of a judge, and what part of that fund goes to the state, and what part of the funding comes to the city, and that is the big portion. If you look down 291, you see tractor trailers all over the place. 291, 9th Street. There's certain streets that'll see no trucking signs on, what you can enforce. But that is one of the things that we do have to get up and running, but the scale house is working.
Thank you.
So hopefully, the next police applicant test, you come out for it.
Ms. Catherine S. Flagg Justice. There she is.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me? My question is about our appointed court receiver, our city receiver, whatever his title is. The receiver, the court-appointed receiver, is that correct?
Well,
because this is a government by the people, for the people, of the people, I'm wondering why the people are not being given an opportunity to express their concerns before the receiver petitions the courts. We need to know before he petitions the court what is going to be going there for. And if he petitions the court, do we as the people have an opportunity to petition the courts in reference to something that we agree or disagree with? Also, I was giving you some information about holding arrest. I was wondering if you made any decisions regarding that.
Say that again,
For
I can't.
the charrettes, I gave you some material to read, and you said you would review that regarding developers coming to our city and doing things. I'm happy that they tabled to one for the Gallo person because of how he conducted his business. Hopefully, if any other developers are coming here, we would have an opportunity to hear what they have to say, if their business is going to be productive for our community. And we have an opportunity to say it. So if you can hold meetings to invite the people, and I know you know the people come out because the last meeting you held, we had to go have it downstairs, and the people showed up. So thank you.
okay.
I'm sorry, Miss Catherine, I have no idea what you said. There's something about holding meetings for developers, is that what you're talking about?
It's a red. And I gave him some information, I don't know whether you have it or not. It explains how in other communities, before a developer can come into your town, they have to tell the community what they want to do, why they want to do it, and if there is doing anything that's going to benefit the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to give some comment to what you said regarding the receiver and the work he does, and how the community can get involved. I mean, there's a number of avenues. I mean, he's right here today. He could speak for himself, but maybe I'm warming it up for you, Mr. Dowry. He has a bi-weekly meeting where he brings up the issues. It's called the MFRAC meeting, and all those meetings are recorded and on the website. On the receiver's website is every document that has ever been produced by them since they've been here. It would take you a couple weeks to read it all. It's so much. Can residents petition the court? Of course they can. Did you hear her points? Is there anything you'd like to respond to with regard to that? Mr. Dowie, this is the receiver appointed by the state.
yes, every resident has standing in the proceeding. Unfortunately, as we go through this process, I'm not going to be able to telegraph everything publicly.
But they can't hear you, so if you can.
Much closer to
Yeah,
you.
you gotta get really up to that mic, I'm sorry.
You can pull it out.
You can grab it.
Yeah, so, good morning, Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm not going to be able to telegraph every move that we make in bankruptcy court, but yes, every resident, every party here has standing and has the ability to challenge or to take action. What I can say, though, in regards to what was most recently filed was us telegraphing publicly what we intend to do to go through an exploratory process. So that does not mean that anything, the city is not committed to anything. We will go through the process and see what the results are and make some informed decisions from that point and decide a course of action. But even that, when filed with court, everyone will have the ability to challenge that. So we are far away from any decisions being made or anything being forced on the residents. But what was recently acted upon in court was just to telegraph to everyone what is actually going on.
Thank you. Ms. Flagg, your frustration is real, you know, with regard to this period of receivership that we're in. And I will tell everyone in no uncertain terms, mayor and council are kind of left in the dark sometimes too. Okay, and it's not on purpose, but the work that's being done by the receiver is work that's done at a level that, unfortunately, particularly in bankruptcy, we're just not at the table. It's his. We are working under the direction of him when it comes to bankruptcy. Now, when it comes to running the city, he has no input on making any changes within city government. And what we have to do is just be strong on our side of the fence, and that's keeping the lights on, keeping the services going, and doing a good job there. And in some respects, just trust that the right guy is at the wheel when it comes to getting out of this long-term debt that we're in that got us into bankruptcy. What he did state, though, at the end there was that when these decisions are made, and they are made public in, you know, from court filings or court decisions, you know, we do have every right to challenge, to question, to request input on the decisions that were made by either him going to the courts or even the judges as they decide, you know, whether they're going to follow what they're recommending. So I guess that's my comment there. Council, have any comments on that? I don't want to speak on behalf of council with regard to our relationship with the receiver and the work that he's doing, but I think I would expect you to agree that there's a lot that's going on with the receiver and his team on a daily basis that we're not particularly involved in. But when necessary, we are made aware of the direction that receivership is going.
Who's going to go first?
Can everyone hear me? Okay, it's working now. There we go. So I guess in retrospect, all right, in regards to you know, the council's relationship with the receiver, we've all had a meeting last week. We've had a plethora of emails and conversations in regards to how we can come together, work together, understand where one another are coming from, and that's through dialect and communication. The receiver and all members of council agreed to our weekly meetings at 3 o'clock. Majority of members of council, all members of council agreed that those meetings will happen on a consistent basis, so that way anything we don't know or anything that's not being communicated or articulated to us can be put in front of us. And just a simple way of asking or, you know, having that conversation, having that dialogue of, hey, this is going on, or this is what we heard, or can you articulate or elaborate on what you meant by this? And that's just through conversation. So I think the conversation is, the opportunity for conversation is definitely there. And as a member of council, I think that we're all excited to, I guess, put our best foot forward to make sure that conversation and communication is happening, so that we're always not on the same page, but on a page to push Chester forward and get out of receivership as quickly as possible. Because we're not always going to be on the same page. I'll let you know up front, transparently, we're not always going to be on the same page with the receiver, because we have to run a city and we have to go through our people, because we're elected for you. However, we can do our best to talk to the receiver and his team to figure out where do we go and how we can incorporate you all in these decision-making processes as we stand before you on council. So I hope that sheds a little light on how I feel and some of the sentiments I know some of my council members have mentioned to me over the few months that we've been here.
I feel that for the past few years, well, I'm going to just deal with this year. And I did have a conversation with the receiver last week. And we have all committed to start, you know, attending the 3 o'clock meetings every Wednesday. Is it every Wednesday or just when we have council meetings? Every Wednesday?
I'm available every Wednesday, but it's because of sunshine that we can only meet. Because of sunshine, we can only meet with 2 of you at a time. But I'll be here every week. It's just which council members will be available.
Oh, okay. I do feel that when it comes to employee matters, you know, the council has been stripped of all administrative duties. So, you know, a lot of you still call us when you have a problem because a lot of you know us and we're in the community. And so you still call us for help with certain housing and public works and other issues going on that you have. But administratively, we have no authority. We have directors, and I will say that the director that I work with, we have a good working relationship, Mr. Heyman and I. And so, you know, he's inclusive, and we keep each other informed. I'm the chair of the Committee for Public Works. And the only thing I would like to see is that we have more participation in terms of hiring. Because like I said before, we walk in here sometimes week to week, we don't know who we're going to run into. We see strangers and we don't know who they are, where they are, and what they're doing, you know. So I think that as a professional courtesy, that we could be made aware of who's coming or even participating in the interview process. I know at one time you had involved us in some things, and then with the contracts that we're looking at in terms from the RFPs, I feel like there should be a council person involved in that too. So, I mean, that's something I could have just, I've done my meeting already. But, you know, we do need to feel, to be included more in the process in what you're doing. And we don't always want to read about it in the newspaper. We want to, you know, the community tells me a lot of stuff before you all do. So I get a lot of my information from the community, and that shouldn't be.
Any other comments? Council?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'm grateful for the opportunity to meet with the receiver on Wednesdays. Inclusion is everything, and I'm grateful to be a part of the conversations that are taking place so that our community members, when they do come to us with questions, they can be answered in a manner that's beneficial to them. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I guess I'll close out on this discussion of the receiver. When he was appointed to Chester, I was not on city government. I was that community journalist out there, and he will tell you, if he'll be honest, that I challenged him. I couldn't understand why he was out with groups that were picking up trash and sitting with the environmental activists as they were having, you know, the things that they do. I really said, why aren't you inside City Hall counting the beans? Isn't that what you're here for? And his answer to me was pretty direct and pretty striking, and it changed my mind immediately when he said, if I don't understand this community, I don't know what I'm here for. I don't know what the results of my work is going to be. So he spent a lot of time early on getting to know this community. He still makes himself available to get to know this community. Don't look at him as some figure that is higher than thou, or is sitting on a pedestal. The decisions that are being made by him is for this community. And I say that to say that someone else could have been appointed to be our receiver, who would have just did a big sale, got us out of debt, got us out of debt, and went back home. And that wouldn't have done us, that may not have done us well moving forward. So there's a lot that's being done by this receiver that's over and beyond what many receivers do in other situations, which is getting out of debt and then going home. It's generally a 2-year stint. He's been here for 4 years, scheduled for 5. As far as council having no power, like members of council, we are the legislative branch of this city. That's a ton of power. I understand the gravitation toward getting involved in operations and personnel issues, but if the focus was on the legislative duties, you know, that's really what it should be on right now in the status of where we are as council people, not being directors. Reverend Thaddeus Kirkland. Can I save you for last? Do you mind? Okay, thanks. I didn't miss you now. I see you. You standing up there like you're ready to go. Oh, no, we got to hear from you.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Real quickly, approximately 2 months ago, I put in a request, and I haven't gotten anything as of yet.
Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you. And real quickly, there was an article in the Daily Times a couple months ago. It spoke of possibly another ghost employee, and everything just kind of disappeared. Has that been satisfied? That been worked out? I know you're not going to answer the question, but I'm going to put it out there anyway.
Okay.
There was an article out there. So
I think in that article it said the Attorney General was notified that there was a ghost employee floating around here.
Mhm.
So we're waiting for the Attorney General to rule, or whether she's going to take it up or not.
Okay. Okay. And the last thing I have is the ARPA money. Do we know, the members of council know how much ARPA money is currently in the bank?
So you're saying minus what was delivered to the city, how much has already been spent?
Mm-hmm. I know it was over $30 million. So do the members of yourself and members of council, because of your working relationship with the receiver and his team, do you know how much money is in the bank?
Well, we can get the latest report, and want us to pass that to you too?
No, I just want to
No,
know.
I don't-
that's-
I mean, does
think
anybody follow that on
we
a
talk
day-to-day
about
basis
we
as to
talk
what's
about transparency. I'm pretty sure they've shared that with you, right?
Well, I can say that by the end of this year, as you know, all funds have to be allocated.
Right.
So,
But I just want to know
but
if
it
you-
all has to be spent, projects have to be completed by December of 2026. So do we know at the minute how much has been spent? I don't think anybody's keeping track of that on a day-to-day basis. Maybe the councilman is.
Reverend Kirkland, I have been trying to keep better track of I'm sorry. So I have been trying to keep better track of the ARPA money. In my meeting that I had with the receiver, the other members of council were there. I requested a printout of the ARPA money, the breakdown of it, an explanation. I also sent out an email yesterday to the ARPA committee. All the members are part of that committee, Joy Taylor, our controller, and a few other members from the community who are part of that, so we can get that committee reestablished and reorganized so it can be happening again. And I hope that those meetings would happen on a regular basis. I know the last schedule wasn't a very consistent schedule as far as like days running consecutively, so maybe once or twice a month they would meet, but I want to get back to meeting on a 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a month schedule, so that we can have better understanding of actually where this ARPA money is going to, how it's improving our city, what that might look like from a physical standpoint. If a new roof was put in, we should be able to have pictures, videos, and see what that looked like so we can show it to the residents. And so far with the ARPA money that hasn't been done, but that's something that I've been trying to work on. So I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I can get it. I would be happy to ask for it, I should say.
And finally, if the ARPA money is not spent, I guess, in the timely fashion, the time given, do we have to send that money back to the feds?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Thank you.
One of the things that's really important right now, oh, here comes our CFO, because that would be the person I'd ask. What's important right now is allocating that money. So the money has to be, some of it has been spent, yes. All of it has to be allocated by the end of this year. And one of the challenges in allocating this money by the end of this year is that if it's a big project, you can allocate it by the end of this year, but do you have enough time to complete the project, a big project, in 2 years? So we've, been working through this, and but here comes our CFO. He might have a clearer picture as to where we are to date on September 11th, 2024, 11:30 p.m. a.m.
So,
and this is our CFO, Richard Troutman, for those of you who may not recognize him, Chief Financial Officer.
so on a monthly basis, within the financial statements that
Talk loud.
in the monthly financial statements that are being provided since the end of May, we're providing a couple different places where there's ARPA information. And one of the places that we speak to is the actual bank account balances as of the end of each month. So those are available. So, for example, we're closing the month of August right now, but the latest report that's been circulated is that there is $13,700,000 worth of cash in the bank. The comments that were made are accurate, that we are required to have obligations by the end of this year. They do not have to be spent by the end of this year, but they do have to be obligated. There are a number of projects that have been completed. There are a number of projects that are being worked on to be tightened up as to what the scope will be by the end of the year so that we can meet the ARPA requirements. So, to Mr. Davis's point, there are going to have more information circulated for each of the projects. The work that's been done over the last several weeks has been tightening up the scope, tightening up the expectation of what can and can't be done based off of what was initially thought to be available to be done. So we're close to getting that narrowed down so that we can present that to the committee and get it finalized. The simple question to Reverend Kirkland's point is, if it's not spent, technically it would have to go back. But there are, we are far enough along that that should not happen, because we have, as part of what we've been going through, is tightening up the scopes so that the commitments that we're looking to do by project will not leave money hanging out to dry. That's all being factored in.
Thank you. So specifically to answer Reverend Kirkland's question, there's roughly, what was the number, $13 million sitting in the bank, which means that we've spent about, oh, I was going to say 20, but we've spent 17 million to date. There's about $13 million left. Okay. Great. Oh, there's more.
One of the extra points that's come along is that we've been earning interest on those funds. And so we've added that to the ability to factor that in. So there's a little over $1.2 million that's been earned in interest so far. So we're we're adding that into the kitty that can be used for these projects.
Well, that was an exciting addition. The interest that's being earned on the money that we have. All right, it's your turn, Mr. Williams. Come on up. You got 3 minutes. It doesn't start till you get to the mic, though. Good morning.
Good evening, just about. Now, what I come over here for today about, like all this trash in the city on the sidewalk. You go down Wilson Street, all the trash that high in there. Ain't nowhere in the world you can't tell me you can't put 2 men on a truck and start loading some of that stuff off and get it out of here. Something needs to be done with Chester. Like that man said, he spent $17 million. Hell, Chester should look like you can eat off the ground. Go up to the city there and look. Ain't like when I first come there in 65. Go down 3rd Street. Look like a dump. You know, Sunday evening I was coming up the road. Hey, y'all gonna do something about that 291? That road make like a quilt. That's the first time I see a road made like that in about 40 years. They don't usually make a road like that in the city. That road make like a quilt like that. And a truck flip over down there by Flower Street that's underneath. One of them little van flip over. Or you got to hit one of them little rough spots. Too many holes in there, ain't nobody patching, ain't nobody fixing nothing. Now who's the finance? Yeah, I hear that man there reading. I thought Davis hold that position. You mean to tell me y'all don't trust him? You don't need to be here if you don't trust him. Y'all got a receiver, you got a man over there. Yeah, that's what y'all paying everybody in the city. That's why you can't get nothing done. You got to go to too many hands. You don't need all them hands. Down there on Lloyd Street or Puget Street on 5th Street. Is anybody thinking about fixing that road back across there? That bridge, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. We're meeting on a monthly basis.
Yeah,
and
that thing been open 25, 30 years.
no, it hasn't been that long, but
It's been
over
about that long.
a decade.
Huh?
It's been over 10 years.
It's been over 20. I go to Butler House. Butler live right next door to that. And you got to go all the way around the block to come in. If a fire comes from Tupper and the fire truck been on Tillman Street, you got to come there, you got to go all the way around State Street to come back in the fire Butler.
When I first started in 2010, Mayor Butler told me I had to shut it down. So it was it hasn't been closed to 20 years.
It's pretty good.
I haven't been here 20 years.
I'll check it out. I can bring the information to you. I can get it.
You can.
Come on, man, let's close it up. You got 10 seconds.
And then I want to know about these cars being towed every night. A lady parked her truck upside her fence down there by me. And damn, the man ain't coming there the other day, that lady working, and towed a car Friday when them folks was out there cutting grass. And now she had to pay $800 to get a car from Icon. It don't make no sense for Icon to charge that kind of money. Y'all have to do something about that. You should start putting the cars back down like you used to do on Dock Street. They used to put them down there. And they had a police down there.
All right, you got 10 more seconds. Go ahead. What
I
else
ain't
you got?
talking on something
That's it?
now. I'm talking people money now.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
That's
Have
why I
a
saved
nice
you for
day.
last. 'Cause
Yeah.
You wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
I got to give him credit. He always mentions the litter that's around town, and we all know that's an issue. We look dirty. We look bad. One of the things that came up in the mayor's lecture series when the receiver was talking about operations and the plan of adjustment, and it's something I probably heard but hadn't heard it that plainly, and that is a city like ours, as small as it is, as trash is collected around this town, it's collected every day of the week. And that contributes greatly to the amount of litter that's out in these streets. I used to joke, but now hearing that, it's not so much of a joke. I used to like the Munsters, that TV show, when I was a kid, and I remember the mother or the wife of Mr. Munster, when she vacuumed, if you remember, all the dust would come out of the vacuum and the house would get dustier. And that's what I used to always say about Chester on trash day. It's like trash day, the day when they should be picking up trash, it seems to be creating more litter. And a lot of it has to do with how we put our trash out. A lot of it has to do with how trash is thrown into the truck, and then the cans might be spewed around the back alleys. When that happens every day of the week, Monday through Friday, we never get a break. There's just more litter hitting the streets. There is a study about to be conducted as to how we can or maybe bring back trash collection, within the city. Obviously, you can imagine that's going to be a huge expense. We have to buy the trucks, we have to have the manpower, but we're looking at a new trash contract, I think, next year. And when we look at how much that's going to cost the city and how much it's going to cost you as taxpayers with the proposed increases, which are not minimal, we have to decide how we're going to handle this. So everything will be on the table when it comes to trash collection. I saw some local community just put a sign up somewhere that they're doing twice a week trash collections like we used to have. And it kind of made me mad. Like, we got to get back to that somehow. I believe we can do it in-house. We have to just find out, will you let me talk? I believe we can do it in-house, to all of you. I really believe we can do it in-house. But I really believe that the point that was made, that we're picking up trash 5 days a week. If we can get that, there's no reason why, if we had the right number of trash trucks, we couldn't do a pickup around the city on a single day of the week. So that would improve the litter situation. Route 291, that road's been out here for a lot of years. It was a great idea when it was put down, but we've seen the flaws of its design. There's been too many accidents and not enough traffic calming going on down there. The county just received another $2.5 million maybe to study it, but I did see the designs. It's all about narrowing the street. You know how 9th Street is as you leave the city heading to Traynor, down the hill, going to Linwood, how they went from 2 lanes to 1 lane. That's the effort that's going to be occurring on 291. The traffic light on Jeffrey Street is all but installed. I don't know what the last phases of it is, but it's just a few more dollars that need to be transferred from somebody to somebody to get that traffic light up. I see that PennDOT did put some, I don't know what those things are called, but at the corners, so cars can't park right up to the corner. So it's better visibility when you make those turns on the 291. And cars being towed, I'm a little miffed at you brought this up last time. Like, if cars are sitting on streets and don't have up-to-date inspection stickers or not valid license plates, and a neighbor complains that the car has been sitting there for a while, yup, we gonna grab it. And if somebody has to pay whatever they have to pay at the tow company to pick it up, no, no. I am not, that is not, no. Your car's got to be proper. We've been moving a lot of cars. Commissioner, come on, last time, one more time. We've been moving a lot of vehicles in the last few months. Talk to us about just the volume of cars, trucks, vans that we've been moving, and what's limiting us moving more.
So one thing that I did was I use social media to my platform. So if you follow Facebook, we created, and there's 3 individuals on there. There's my secretary, there's another civilian worker, and there's Officer D. Moss Jones, who just is assigned to abandoned vehicles. If you send the information into our abandoned vehicles, you will get a reply from us. Also, there is a data form that we're creating to show when the complaint call came in, the year, make, model, just so we track the abandoned vehicles better. But the biggest thing is there's a ton of abandoned vehicles in the city. A lot of times, as you'll see, where there will be a sticker, there has to be a proper protocol that you follow. Proper mail has to go out within 10 days. You have to give the individual time to respond. After you give the individual time to respond, if they don't come and fix the issue with their vehicle, that you could tow it. And there's another thing called a health and safety, which I'm sure that we've seen through the city. This is where you'll see, a vehicle with broken windows, flat tires. One of the most disturbing thing that bothers me is that, and I hate to use this term, a street mechanic, where they have the vehicle on jacks and they leave it unattended. When you see that, instead of calling 911 if you don't feel comfortable, I mean, it's abandoned vehicle complaint, but that's what 911's for. But more importantly, notifying the police department, because we can tow it. I know a lot of things comes up with private property too, but we work in tandem with L&I. If you notify me, I'll join the email together. And for the safety of L&I, we'll go out together as a team and address it. And that's what it's all about. It's about teamwork.
So speaking about teamwork, and yes, you know, you've been very supportive with those, getting those abandoned vehicles. But what about the cars that are on the streets with price tags on them and being sold from the city streets? Because I do believe we have an ordinance or something that says that you can't, you know, do car sales from our city street. And the place at 9th and Ingle, we haven't gotten that straightened out yet, and I've been complaining for over 10 years about that.
So in reference to that, that would be reasonable. And you do see the vehicles lined up. But with certain protocol, there's a thing called a dealer tag. So if there's a dealer tag labeled on the vehicle, it's kind of like a thin line. But if there's no tag on it and they're on the street, it can be addressed. We just have to go down and address it together.
But what if they're blocking the city's right-of-way? The sidewalks are the city's right-of-way, and I've seen women with strollers walk out into the street because they can't walk down the sidewalk because the cars are parked there.
That's where, if it was blocking a public passway, we would go out, we'd address the owner. If they refuse to remove the vehicle, we would tow it.
And it's there at night, because I'm there at night, and it's there during the day, too.
So, I mean, if that's the case, that's where you have to ask for one of our supervisors to go down there. If you're not feel like you're getting the proper information from the officer, you would ask for the corporal or the sergeant.
Not you, huh?
I'm always out in the city. You call me.
I have you on speed dial.
I know. I think my phone bill went up $100, but it's okay.
Thank you. And as legislators, we can tighten it up. We can tighten it up with ordinances. All right, council, any comments? Oh, we have an announcement. Come on up.
Morning, Mayor and fellow council members. I just want to, my name is Rosetta Carter from the Health Department. I just want for you to be aware that COVID is still around, okay? And I've been getting a lot of calls as well as persons stopping into my office for COVID tests. Well, I'm here today to announce that we do have a pharmacist that is here in a community room today from 11 to 2 p.m. So if you want to get your shot, the COVID-19, the flu, the shingle, RSV, please come down with your insurance card. And according to the CDC, the COVID's going to be around. They say it's going to be around like the flu. So I would encourage you, the ones who work here, to make sure you sanitize your desk from time to time. Thank you very much.
That's excellent. Excellent information. You said between 11 and 2?
Yes.
In the...
Communities.
Okay. So before you go home, go get your shot. Just want to make sure we pick this up, all the events that are going on in town. I'm not going to read them off. We usually have them in color. What happened? Oh, the color printer must not have been working today. All right. But that looks good. I'll make the first comment, and I'll get out the way. Ethel Waters Park, right across the street here, where we do the oldies every Tuesday night, which is always a hit. Yay for that. You know, there's a fountain over there that hasn't worked in 15 years. Well, it's going to be working real soon, real soon. And we're going to have a big celebration on October 12th to what's the word we're using, Andrew? What? Rededicate, that's the word. Rededicate the park with the fountain being on. Our community partners have kicked in to help us with this effort. It's going to be magnificent. It's going to be a 20-foot shot in the air of water. There's going to be lights on the water. I don't know if the water's going to dance, but we're getting that fountain back together. The overreaching goal is to I'm talking about what's going to happen October 12th. Let's talk about what happened up to now. The graffiti's been removed, trees are trimmed, benches are painted. The Public Works Department, the Parks Department, those guys have gone to work over there. So we want to absolutely thank you for that. It's going to continue to be an important park because it's so close to the historical markers around the city that we're looking to incorporate that park as a destination for all things history here in the city of Chester. But October 12th, mark that date. We're going to be blasting off with the new fountain. Council, what time? Do we have a time yet?
12 to 4 is the current estimate.
12 to 4.
Rain date of October 13th.
The rain date would be the following day. So there is a flyer that's drafted. I don't think it's gone public yet. We got to put a couple more logos on from our partners. But we're really excited about it. Andrew Heyman, I'm calling him the MacGyver of government. I don't know how he does it, but he finds little things to make things happen. So thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Anybody?
Okay, I just want to do a reminder, even though it's on this sheet here, on September 16th and 17th, PennDOT wants to invite you, the public, to come out to a meeting regarding the I-95 corridor and the walls that they're proposing to put up. Sound barriers, okay, instead of walls, sound barriers. And the first one is going to be held from 4:30 to 6:30 at True Vine Missionary Full Gospel Baptist Church, 701 Morton Avenue. And it's very, very important that you, the community, attend and let your voice be heard and you can ask questions. The second date is the very next day, September 17th, from 4:30 to 6:30, and the location will be here at Chester City Hall in the community room. So any questions that you might have about the sound barriers, where they're going to be erected, whatever, you know, this is your opportunity to come out and ask questions. Also, I noticed today on my street, which is West Elkington, that one side of Elkington, like the south side of Edgemont on Elkington, is Avenue, and across the street on the other side where Chester Park is, it's Boulevard. So I noticed that there was some confusion, and all I want to say is that if you have a new sign that has been erected, and if it's not correct, please make sure you call Public Works. I did speak to the director this morning and also the supervisor about, you know, the error that I saw, and I think there may be some others that may need to be corrected. But just give us a call and let us know. You can call the main number, 610-447-7700, and follow the prompt. Okay? That's it for me.
No. Good. No. I'm good.
So I'm not going to hold everybody up too long. I'm going to make a comment on what the gentleman said and also a comment on something that I'm going to make a comment on what you mentioned, and I'm also going to make a comment on something that we voted on earlier, which was the budget. Just to articulate myself a little bit in regards to the budget and addressing some specific people and line items. Some individuals in City Hall have gotten promotions, have been doing the job for months in advance and weren't receiving any compensation for it. And instead of just paying them on a set day of randomly July 17th, if you've been doing the job since April 1st, you should get your back pay from April 1st. So it's important that we go back and look at each individual so they feel as though their hard work doesn't go unnoticed, because in City Hall, we are a community that builds morale. If people recognize that you understand the hard work they do every day and understand that, you know, with the economy, something that was mentioned a lot in the debate last night, matters. The way they take care of their families, the way they're able to pay for the very necessities of life is important. And that's something that City Hall has to work on as far as a lot of staff, some people that didn't get raises, who definitely need to get raises. I'm going to say that transparently right now. Some people in here that need raises. But the city has a long way to go. We're trying to get there. So that's something that I wanted to articulate on why I said specific people will be paid on a case-by-case basis, because everybody's situation is different. Not everybody might have got a promotion on the same day or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to articulate that. Also, things have been completely different over the years in City Hall. I don't think that it's anybody here that doesn't trust me. Giving off my level of education, the continued level of education I am still receiving. I think that a lot of people should have a lot of faith in me, a lot of trust in me, but things are different. I'm not anyone's boss in here. I'm an elected official who works for my people. I can't walk into the Council and Finance Department and say, give me a $500,000 check and pay anybody. That's not the way City Hall works anymore. That's not what we're running in city government. I can ask for the information. I can have conversations. I can communicate. I can try to be transparent. But I don't tell anybody around here what to do. I don't sign any checks. So when it comes to the money, trust me, it's not about not anybody not trusting me, but it's a new system. With the court case and everything coming around, we just have to be transparent and be patient about what's going on, because I don't know a city council member here that can walk in here and tell anybody of a department or anything what to do. So as far as me signing a check or paying anybody's bills or anything, that's not happening, because we have a CFO who went to school for 30 years and has been doing math all his life. I trust him to get hired for that job, to be able to do his job. The receiver's here because he got hired to do a job, and I hope that he can do his job so that the city of Chester can get out of this financial debt that we're in. That in this situation with receivership and everything, that's not my job. My job is to be a council person, to figure out how I can network and build community relationships and bring businesses here and different opportunities to Chester. That's my job. My job isn't to sit down at a desk and, okay, $7 was spent yesterday and we have $8 left. It's not my job, everyone. So I just wanted to be transparent about that in regards to the trust that I feel as though my colleagues have or don't have in me. The point of me still being in school and getting my master's education is to understand that I value my education, I value being better. So trust isn't something that the citizens of Chester or my colleagues should have to worry about.
I want to thank Councilman Green for reminding me that on Sunday, for those of you who are so inclined, there will be a dedication to Bishop Samuel Ellis at the First Pentecostal Church starting at 11:30. There'll be a street sign dedication. So for those of you who are familiar with Reverend Ellis, First Pentecostal Church, and the great, great work that he's done, we'll be issuing a proclamation, and they'll be revealing a new design kind of street sign. It's not really a street sign, it's more of a marker, but it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And if all hearts and minds are clear, I heard that from my receiver the other day. There's more? I guess they're not clear.
So I'll be real quick. One thing I want to speak on for what you talked about the houses, and the term you would say is possibly a predator. There is a thing called the Megan's Law list that the state police handles. In the state of Pennsylvania, the last time I checked my numbers, there was over 7,000 people on that list. Through the police department, along with the state police, we do a compliance check. I'll speak to you after this meeting. Another thing with the remembrance of 9/11, what I got to speak on too, September is the National Prevention Month for suicide. And with Councilman Davis, you said before, if you see someone going through something, whether it's maybe they look upset, you don't know if they're depressed, you don't know what's going on in their life, speak up and say something to them. I mean, suicide, some of the numbers are through the roof. Being first responders, we see it all the time. So again, just say something. And last but not least, I'm a big sports fanatic. I got to give props to Chester High School. There is a powerhouse team called Emotep based out of Philadelphia. They blow teams out. If you look up their numbers, they have Division I athletes going to Ohio State, Penn State. Chester High and the talent they had them in the ropes on the fourth quarter. But Coach Shaw, if you're listening, keep teaching them kids and doing you. Thank you.
And I think homecoming's October 5th, Saturday, October 5th, so get ready for that.
And then, Mayor, I'd just like to encourage our community too. Sunday, I happened to ride past 7th and Welsh Street, and Life in Christ Ministries, they were there feeding those persons who unfortunately are homeless. And they had some good meals. But, you know, just to stop and talk and listen to them and just listen to their stories. You know, we're all about that far away from being homeless ourselves. So we have to remember those who are in need. And let's try to be an encouragement. If you can share, you have something to share, share. But stop and talk and listen. And we prayed together, and we had a good fellowship on Sunday. So I just wanted to let you know that that type of fellowship is going on at 7th and Welsh Street every Sunday.
All right, can I get a motion and second to adjourn this meeting?
I make a motion.
Got the motion. Can we get a second? All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for your attendance.